Welcome back, Year 6. Today's chapter is called Rail Legs, Chapter 9. Lenny checked the corridor was empty and darted out of the door, pulling Hal behind her. Carpet was replaced by lino as they headed towards the front of the train. Hal could smell frying bacon, coffee and engine oil. These are the service cars. Lenny let go of his hand as they passed cupboards, hatches and shelves stacked with white towels and bed linen. That's the pantry, she grinned at him over her shoulder. Good for emergency biscuits. A horn suddenly blared as the carriage lurched and an express train shot past. Hal stumbled and whacked his elbow against the pantry door. Ah! He grimaced as his arm fizzed like 1,000 angry hornets. Funny bone. Shh! Lenny put a finger to her lips. You didn't even wobble. Hal rubbed his elbow. Rail legs, she said knowingly. It's like sea legs, but on trains. Is that a real thing? Dunno, Lenny shrugged. Bend your legs, like you're standing on a skateboard. It helps. Hal bent his knees and waddled after her. Not that much, Lenny giggled. The corridor opened out into a compartment filled with storage boxes. A loading trolley was fixed to the wall beside 2 uniform jackets on hooks. A man in a blue suit and a cap with gold trim was sat on a wooden stool next to a switchboard, polishing a pair of shoes with a brush. Hal recognised him as the guard with the whistle from King's Cross. Lenny put her arm out so that Hal stayed back. Psst, Graham, she whispered. Close your eyes. The train guard smiled, closing his eyes while continuing to polish the shoe. You haven't even seen me, Lenny said in a whisper, waving at Hal to tiptoe with her across the carriage. I haven't seen anything, Graham chuckled. I don't even know you're on board. Most of the train staff know I'm here, Lenny explained as they marched on, but Dad's asked them to turn a blind eye. She glanced at Hal. I'm not supposed to talk to passengers, though. They passed a pair of compartments with 3 tiered bunk beds closely stacked together. And passengers are definitely not allowed in the service cars. The train staff don't like it. They work hard to give the passengers a magical experience, and a magician never reveals how they do their tricks. She pointed ahead. That's where they go when they're off duty. They can't relax if passengers are bossing them and asking them for things. Hal thought about the way Mr. Pickle had spoken to Gordon Gould and how Lady Lansbury wandered around demanding things, and he completely understood. The next carriage was an open space with 2 tables and benches. Amy was standing at a counter in the far corner making a cup of tea with her back to them. Hi, Amy, Lenny said as they entered. What are you doing out of your room? You promised to stay hidden. Amy turned around and went stiff. Oh, Master Beck! She glared at Lenny, and Hal shifted uncomfortably from one foot to the other. Now don't get mad, Lenny said cheerfully. Harrison found out where I was hiding. He said he wasn't sure if he liked steam trains, so I'm going to take him to... Marlene? Amy's voice was serious. This isn't a game. I could lose my job. I swore not to tell, Hal said. I know I'm not allowed back here, but I promised to keep everything a secret. Amy sighed and turned back to the counter to add milk to her tea. Your dad's shift started an hour ago. Thanks, Amy. You're the best. I'm a mug is what I am, Amy said to herself, than anyone as they scampered past. A door with a sign that said generator next to a yellow triangle with black lightning bolt inside it was emitting an alarming electrical hum. Beside it was a giant cage with a padlocked door and no windows, only a skylight in the roof. The luggage cage, said Lenny, hurrying past. Your bags will be in there somewhere. I don't have bags, Hal replied, peering into the cage, stacked high with cases and holdalls. I only brought a rucksack. I wish Mum had helped me pack, though. I brought all the wrong stuff. Why didn't she? Well, one day everything was normal. The next, I'm told to get on a train with my uncle. Mum was too busy packing for hospital to help me. I think they're worried about my baby sister. I've got 3 younger sisters. One time, when Natan was born, I had to spend a whole afternoon with our next-door neighbour, Mr. Tyrrell. He's a bit strange, doesn't go out in the day, goes out at night to collect dead stuff for his taxidermy, but it turned out okay because he taught me how to skin a squirrel. Hal grimaced. I'd rather be on the Highland Falcon than skinning squirrels. I'd rather be on the Highland Falcon than anywhere else in the world, Lenny smiled. Are you looking forward to being a big brother? I don't know. I've not thought about it much. You don't think about much, do you? Lenny laughed. It's tough being the eldest. You get ignored. You have to share everything and you're always told you've got to set an example. Like stowing away on a royal train, Hal laughed. I'm serious, Lenny gave him a playful shove. You'll see, everything will change when your sister arrives. She'll nag you to play with her all the time. Mine do, anyway. I'm not playing with girls' games. What's a girls' game? Harrison shrugged. Princesses? Lenny thumped him on the arm. Ow! My sister Pryor and I play princesses all the time. She makes me dress as a prince and fight her. Guess who wins? You? Hal's eyes flickered down to Lenny's tool belt. Pyra, because she takes dance classes, so her legs are super strong. She can take you down with a blow to the backs of your knees before you've swung a fist. She calls it combat battle and ballet. Right, Hal nodded. I'll remember to stay away from her then. Lenny laughed, grabbing the handle of the door at the end of the carriage and twisting the lock below it. She yanked it open. Hal was hit by a blast of cold air. His head rang at the clattering sound of the train travelling at speed. Facing him was the claret metal of the locomotive. Lenny nimbly leapt over the gap between the carriage and the tender, opened a metal door, and disappeared inside. Hal gripped onto an iron handle on the outside of the carriage and looked down. It was only a small jump. Railway sleepers rushed beneath them in a hypnotic blur. Lenny's head popped back out of the metal door. Come on, slow coach. I can't, Hal stammered. Imagine you're a ballet dancer, Lenny shouted, disappearing again. Taking a deep breath, Hal let go of the handle and jumped. There's a nice picture there. He felt like he was falling, but landed with a thump in the tender corridor, stumbling to his knees, his heart hammering in his chest as the roar of the locomotive shook the metal walls. He stood up on his feet unsteadily. It was dark and the ceiling was low. The place stank of soot and smoke. As he stepped out onto the engine's footplate, the wind whipped his hair back from his face, and he gasped at the vivid panorama of hedgerows, trees and sky flying past the engine cab. And that's the end of chapter 9. Next time, chapter 10 is called The Footplate. I wonder what adventures they're going to have. See you later.